the stuff. So let's just dive in. Jon Stewart is now, I guess, the host of the once a week daily show. It is a damn shame what has happened to him. I take no pleasure in this as someone that I used to kind of admire. And as I said, I worked for as an intern. My few little interactions with him were always quite nice. But he's gone all in on the woke thing. And as you guys know, once you go in on that, you just keep going and going and going and going. And you have nothing to do with what once I would have called him a liberal. He no longer is a liberal. He is just sort of a wokester. That's it. So here he is basically saying that we're all lying about what's been going on in Democrat cities.
It's the dang Democrat-encouraged crime. It's one of the right's favorite talking points, not just from Milwaukee, but for all Democratic-run cities, that those cities are crime-infested shitholes, where life is miserable and everyone hates everybody. But people who live in these cities know that this rhetoric is only kind of true. Now, and when people who don't live in these cities say it, it's very annoying. And by the way, it does turn out the crime is actually down.
The FBI reporting the nation's violent crime rate has dropped dramatically this year.
Overall violent crime down 15% from last year. Murders down 26%. By every national metric, crime is down.
Solid trend. Crime is down. It's all a misunderstanding. But now that the FBI numbers are out, I'm sure that the right-wing media will adjust accordingly.
Quality of life is not captured in any of the FBI numbers. And if you live in a blue city, walk outside and use your eyes.
You should use your f***ing eyes. Do you even see over your shoulder? They were doing double donuts in a parking lot. That's like the Cirque du Soleil of automobiles. That's not crime. That's art.
I'm sorry, is that comedy? Am I just like out of touch these days? That's not comedy. He's making the reverse point of the point he's trying to make. He's showing, oh, these guys are doing double donuts. Yes, it's illegal and people can be killed. And you know what's interesting? I'll show you some numbers. The real reason that John's able to show you those numbers and NBC is able to report those numbers about crime going down is because most cities and states are no longer even reporting crimes to the FBI in the first place. But this is one of those things, and we're seeing this with Joe Biden right now. You can either believe what you see on television, you know, when you see unedited videos of things, and when you walk out onto the street, you can see what's going on in your lived experience of the world, or you can listen to these people who will lie about everything, right? So we see this now with the way they're treating Biden. You can either see what you see with him, or you can somehow think that that everything is edited while he's stumbling and bumbling and everything else. And it's the same thing with crime. Why is it that every week on this show I can show you the things from Portland and Seattle and San Francisco and Los Angeles? Why is it that there's only homeless encampments in those cities? Denver, which wasn't a crazed woke city, which now has massive homeless encampments everywhere. I was just in New York City. The second dusk hits, it is like everyone puts on a hoodie and is looking for drugs. The subways are overrun. These are not made up things. Like, they're simply not made up. But we've got some info here from the NRA Institute for Legislative Action. 37% of police departments stopped reporting crime data to the FBI, including large departments for Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. And for other jurisdictions like Baltimore and Nashville, crimes are being underreported or undercounted. So again, we can argue about the percentages and everything else, but we simply know that in Republican-run cities, you cannot run into a CVS and steal all of the stuff. That here in Miami, I can't walk into Best Buy and take $950 worth of PlayStation 5 stuff. I'd like to, but you can't. I can't just walk into Lululemon and take all the cutoffs I'd like. Again, I'd like to. I spend a lot of money on that stuff. So why do they lie about absolutely everything? Well, I actually think there's a reason for it. And we've shown you many videos over the last year or so of the former Russian KGB agent, Yuri Bezmenov. And here he is. Once again, we've shown you this one before, but I want you to listen to him talk about ideological subversion and then put that in your brain as you watch a guy like Jon Stewart lie about what's right in front of your face, or Anthony Fauci lie about what's right in front of your face, or the entire mainstream media lie about what's going on with Joe Biden. Go.
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism.
Okay, so there's a lot there, and we'll keep showing you those videos, and we've shown you in the past, and there's just so rich. I mean, it's a former KGB agent being like, guys, this is what we do, and it's happening right now, and we can all see it, but it happens in slow motion, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. As he's saying, it happens over 15, 20 years to get one generation, so you sort of forget what the world used to look like. So Jon Stewart, for whatever reason, like, I don't know, is he a Marxist, communist? I don't know. I have no idea. But for whatever reason, he does not want you to see what you can see right in front of your face. And as Bezmenov says, despite an abundance of information, we can't come to a conclusion together. And that's what's happening in the country right now. How is it that I see the world so profoundly differently than Jon Stewart sees it? How come I go to a blue city and I travel all over the place and do book tours and everything else, and every blue city I go to has homeless people everywhere and drug use everywhere? San Francisco, Portland, like, you guys, everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. And why is that not happening in Republican cities? Why is it that here in Florida we had 2 Soros-backed DAs and DeSantis got rid of them, and crime is basically at an all-time low throughout the state? Like, is that a coincidence or not? Yet the Soros-backed DAs of Los Angeles, of San Francisco, and some of these other cities are making sure that people are not arrested for crime. Or if you're arrested, you immediately get out. Or the litany of other things that they're doing, right? So that you can walk into a store and just take stuff. Like, you get it. You get the point. And I will illustrate more of that with a place called Chicago. We're going to get you the numbers on how many people were killed in Chicago over the weekend, because that's what they do over there. Sorry, Jon Stewart, it's just true. We'll get to that in just a second. Now back to me. Okay, so Jon Stewart, I'm sorry, I have to debunk some of your nonsense. And we're going to go to Chicago, which is in Illinois. I actually just watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off over the weekend. Great, great movie. Abe Fromm and the Sausage King. And that took place, of course, in Chicago. That was a better time for Chicago back then. That was the mid-'80s, I guess. But here's some info from Breaking 911. Just in, at least 38 people shot, 6 fatally, in Chicago Father's Day weekend shootings. Now, of course, you're not going to hear any of the names of any of the people that were shot, because they were all black people and they were shot by black people. I would prefer that nobody be shot regardless of skin color, but Chicago, which has been run by Democrats for decades, relentlessly, with no breaks for decades, has the tightest gun laws basically in the country, and that is where the most people get shot. And it's not just that people are getting shot. There's general states of mayhem. Here is what happened at a gas station. This does involve people getting shot, but it's people getting shot and general mayhem. Enjoy.
Here's surveillance video we obtained from inside the gas station. You can see a massive crowd beginning to run moments after those gunshots were fired. We'll freeze the frame at one point as the video shows multiple people getting shot. Then you'll see a police officer near that gas pump that says number 3, his weapon drawn as he's trying to get to one of the victims on the ground. Then more officers begin to file in. The fire department arriving on scene along with multiple ambulances. This happened just before 1 o'clock this morning. It's not clear at this time what led up to the shooting, but police say the youngest victim is just 15 years old. She was shot in the neck and taken to Stroger Hospital in critical condition. We know 2 women, 18 and 19 years old, were also shot. 2 men, 25 and 35, shot. All those victims taken to area hospitals in fair condition. 1 woman in her 30s suffering from a broken ankle. The gas station clerk working here overnight says he locked the doors of the store moments before gunfire erupted.
Let me back up for a second, because I was a little glib in the intro there, and there's obviously nothing funny or amusing about young people being shot. You know, it's also interesting because Jon Stewart, in the piece that we showed you of him, he's making fun of the Fox contributor there who said that these cities, it's not just the numbers, it's the quality of life. And that is the truth. What are all of these young people doing at a gas station? Basically a mob at a gas station, right? Did they have the one flavor of Prime that you can't get anywhere else? Like, what is going on there? Why are there mobs in the streets? Why are they taking over the streets? Why are they attacking police officers? It is a culture. It is a culture that then leads to a certain quality of life. And it is just empirically true that in blue cities, the quality of life has been degraded in a way that it has not in the red cities. And Chicago is the prime example of this. Yes, we can do the homeless and drug thing in San Francisco and Los Angeles. We can show you the tent cities everywhere. But if you want just pure crime and mayhem, Chicago is ground zero for that.